Jojo and Priscilla, the guys I'm with today. So like we have shared with you already, we are going to talk about culture. Um, to dive right into it, my understanding of culture is it's a concept that has to do with familiarity and acceptance. I believe culture is a behavior that is accepted and that is familiar to members in society. So we have grown up through certain things, and some others have trained with us. We have had to rethink the way we do things, the way we perceive things, the way we look at people, and I believe from the time we're young to grasp how the culture operates, how society operates, there are very many things that we have had to adopt. Some of us have grown up in different places, we have moved to other places, and we have had to adopt culture. But now, not all culture is good culture, not all, and that's just my opinion. I believe that togetherness, how we grow up, because the way we define friendship or relationships or work in this society is different, probably how other people define it. You'll find distant friendships are what are emphasized in the Nordic countries like the Sweden, the Norways, and all that. A friendship is not what you would imagine it to be in Uganda or in our setting as we grow up. So so culture has been that thing that people have come together, have attributed either success or failures in both business, in marriages, in our relationships, in life, uh, either because we have adopted to a certain culture or no, or we have failed to adopt. So in that way, we are we either move forward, we either progress, we either win, or we can lose at the different aspects of life. So that is what I think and about culture, also as well of introduction. So I am going to start with Jojo. Jojo will share with us what he thinks about culture and what he sees is different or is in the culture that he has seen as we have been growing up. Maybe he can mention you can also talk about a particular culture that you think is important, to talk about maybe as a child or so you can give your understanding of culture and you can give it a relation to it. Thank you.
Hi guys, my voice is a bit hoarse, so you forgive me for it. So culture essentially is ideas, customs, social behaviors, which define people. To make it more palatable, let's say you went to let's say like something stupid like smack culture, Budo culture. As in Budo, now culture was when it was raining, you can't run in the rain. And if you're Budo, you have to walk on stone, and that is the culture behind us, right? And then it's important to remember that the epistemology of the word culture is there's cult in it. So never deceive yourself that you're not in a cult, regardless of the society you're in. You're in a cult of sorts. You follow rules and regulations, stupid things like let's say like diamond rings, yet diamonds have no value. But as human beings we decided proposing them. It makes no sense, right? But we're in a culture that values that. So yeah, that's it for me. Yeah, it's that.
Hi guys. I do not think that I'm going to say anything that they haven't said, but what I think and I believe culture is to me, culture is like the glue in any society. Could be society, could be arrangement, could be organization, but whatever behavior, ritual, values. So I think culture is like a glue. Call it glue.
While I still have you, Priscilla, so Jojo spoke about culture and its relationship with being in a cult. Do you think that there are certain things that we glorify in our culture that we can actually do away with? I will start with the idea that he mentioned about proposing, not the Resources. Yes, about proposing. Do you think There are certain things that we do, maybe proposing, or we are having a big wedding, or we are doing something like those things that we have decided to, glorify in culture. And just earlier on was speaking about the contribution to a wedding and how people want to get involved, and if you do not involve them, there's a challenge. Exactly. So, do you think it's okay to okay, how do we make it fine for people to believe or people to understand that okay, yes, that is the culture, but is it okay for us to go outside of the culture and do our own thing?
I mean, because you don't live in that particular community that appreciates that culture only. So I think that we leave us in a place where we have to have open minds. What doesn't apply to you as an individual? I think the most important thing in culture is to have a personal culture. Like you have, we have grown up in different places and different things, and we have picked up different cultures here and there. So in picking up different cultures, I have a version of a culture that is mine. So I think if we appreciate our personal cultures, like what resonates with you should be as long as it's right, as long as it's in the boundary, me as me, I think that there's some things that we can do away with. It's not written in stone that if I don't do this way, if I don't look left, right on the road, I'll get knocked. No, I could look one side and still make it. Yes. So my point is that there's some things that you can do away with if you must.
So Jenny, while she talked about personal culture, but personal culture is being influenced by the culture we are in. So are there your personal things that you do, maybe stuff that you grew up seeing in your household or in your family or in the society that you think a little bit a little bit like out of the culture of society that were only personal or were only reserved to you or to your family and something like that?
Um. So there's no. So there's not. My family is very traditional. Um. Sunday prayer, very Catholic family or not. I don't think it's impossible to have a personal culture. I think everyone is like an amalgam of their societies or like what you're exposed to at least. For example, like like if you're up to me, I know in Uganda, it never made sense. The right price never made sense to me, right? I know am I paying for a babe? She should pay for me. So,
But why not?
but in India, it's the chick that pays for the guy, right? So you may think you're escaping culture by escaping Uganda, and you go to India, but you're part of that culture now. So I think it's about picking different good things about different cultures. Like there's this religion in I think Asia called Jainism, where you're not allowed to hurt anything, even insects and whatnot. It's brilliant, but at the same time it's kind of stupid, right? It's because things have to die for things to be born. Yeah. So essentially.
Jojo, yes, and you still. You talked about the good things about culture. You can cherry pick or something like that. But then also that brings me to the point to ask you in society today, what are those things that maybe one or two that you think are not good? What have we developed as a culture, whether old, whether youth, whether young? What have we developed as a culture?
Okay, that's not good. For example, if I think we're all Ugandans, yeah. I'm going to Ugandan schools, at least for our childhood. And when someone calls someone local, it's a bad thing, eh? This guy is local, man. He's a local guy. Right? Now, when I went to because you speak Uganda, you're a local guy. Now, I went to uni in Dubai. Now, in Dubai, the locals, you can't even enter an elevator with the guy. Right? Because a local is a higher social class, right? Man, it was cognitive dissonance. I was like, am I local? Am I not? You don't want to be local? No, I'm not. So in Uganda, we need to cast that whole local thing because you're more Ugandan, you're local. Because that idolizes, it's colonialist, that whole mindset. So yeah, I think that is get the fuck out of it.
Um, Priscilla, something bad that you have noticed that we are picking up in our culture?
Um, Something that I don't appreciate, however, it's getting a little bit more definition. Was one thing that I didn't appreciate about our culture at large as Africa is how they used to, sideline the women and then, the female gender. So it's still existent in some cultures, and I think that we are doing well. We're doing well. We're doing away with it. There's a lot of sensitization going on and self-awareness.
Okay, so when you talk about, you know, but the bad culture where we're segregating women that used to happen, and there's a lot of, efforts, to curb that and to make sure that women are included, we have them with us. Um, so now when you speak about culture, what is where do you think the line is drawn between culture and tradition?
The line is very blurry between culture and tradition because I think culture sometimes is to promote our tradition. It's a product of the tradition, isn't it? What do you think?
I think everything originates from culture, right? Religion, tradition. Because if, for example, if your culture is collectivist, you're more likely to have, let's say, wedding meetings. Have you ever seen a Muzungu having a wedding meeting in North America? It doesn't happen because their culture is more individualist, right? But in Africa, the collective, so some people get pissed if you don't ask them for money, right? So yeah, we just spoke about that just now. So culture is the first thing. It's the step one. Then religion, all around the world, Eastern philosophy, caring about people and whatnot. Then in the Middle East, there's one God, one Jesus, and to the extreme, yes, some cultures.
I guess we are getting somewhere. So, my issue to the rest of us who are here, our point is we are trying to see how best we can, frame this whole idea of culture from our perspective, and we are definitely going to get your ideas. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, from the placemats we said put on the tables, but as of now, we are still discussing. So now, we just spoke about, you know culture being the best in society. That there was something, there was a way of like, there was a way people were doing things. Um, there was a way we were moving, and all those other things came in and stuff. So we need to also appreciate, or we do appreciate that certain how do they call it? Certain countries or societies raise their children. If you talked about the independence, they raise their children to be independent, and others raise them to be independent. So Priscilla, as a mother, what kind of culture do you think we need as parents here or anywhere? I think we need, to what extent do we need to discuss culture? What extent do we need to have culture influence how we raise our children?
Very interesting question because I think that how you raise your child as a mother, as a father, hands down, like you do, you, the mother, the father, it's important because we talked about this during the week, and I was saying that if you let your child pick up cultures from everywhere else that they go, you are risking it because this child is going to be made up of those many things. So
But we're in the society, the same.
in the society. But that brings what I was talking about, the personal culture. It's not that you're going to have a culture that is yours alone, but like from the things that you are taught, from what your father instilled in you, you're still working from those values, right? I would imagine. So it's important that as a parent you instill these things in your child intentionally. If there's something that you appreciate about your culture and you want to pass it down to them, no one is going to pass it down to them for you because nobody knows what you appreciate in your culture. So I think it's key.
But I think, don't you think it all boils down to familiarity and acceptance? Because if we did something, if you taught your child to do something um, that is not accepted in society, like children need to be rudely or organized or well behaved, that's a standard. We don't want that. But yes, for example, don't you think that raising our children, even if you had a personal culture, because you can have contradictions or you can have opposition to some of the culture that is in society. So the question is, how do you manage? Because it still takes a village because we're in the African country.
Absolutely, but you see, even us, we are a product of a village, but you have values instilled in you from your home. Charity begins at home, right? Whatever you do with your child, whatever you do with anyone that lives in your house begins at home. So I'm going to go out there and find guys eating while walking, and I'll be like, oh, okay, that's a culture that's new. But at my home, we sit down by the table. That is what I think. That's the charity begins at home.
Yeah, I think you say something which is very important, which is values. I think values are a derivative of culture, especially in the home. There's a quote which goes, I don't know, like verbatim what it is, but it's something like treat your household like a dictatorship, treat strangers like a democracy. So you decide what you want your kids to be like, right? If you value excellence, if you value charity, like you said, right? Or timekeeping, things like that, right? So you determine, you have a chance. And that's a privilege of having a child, right? You determine your own culture. What is the foundation of that answer? It's up to you. So, but at the same time, what you think, you're also affected by the culture.
That is what I was trying to say. And at the end of the day, it still takes a village. That's one. And then two, it's very likely that how I was brought up or how you are brought up is different from how you raise a good child. So somehow, somewhere, you're still influenced by the deeper culture in the earlier time.
Yeah, that's true. And there's like, people say like that. If your dad is a fireman, you become an arsonist, right? So you might try and instill charity. Then your son becomes monogam, right? Like, and because like it's trying to become the opposite of you, right? It's like, so it's just discernment and the way you communicate what you want to be like.
Yeah, well, yes, still. So now let's move on. Culture. Workplace. Just
Culture in the workplace. I think it's a red flag. You employed somewhere, and they tell you we're family here. Yeah. Thank you. Because the culture in the workplace, first of all, I think how you determine it should be how it should be a reflection of your product if you're selling something, right? Selling Instagram or like Jack with Twitter, right? Or like Elon with Twitter, you have to be on Twitter. You have to embody it. You have to, like, the Google offices in like Palo Alto or what, as in there's freedom, right? That's the essence of Google. You can Google whatever you want. Like, I think there's that, so you have to embody it in your people. You can't be super strict and you want to think freely, right? Even in office space, your doors stay open if it's progressive. But if you're a lawyer, you have to come to die, long time crap.
yeah, Priscilla, so when we still have culture in the workplace, do you think the differences in culture from where we're raised and where we come from, have they, contributed to success or failure?
Absolutely. Absolutely. During the week, we talked about something, and we said that we were talking about how people have biased data on people, and that thing. And we said, and if they get a group of guys or group of, they will work well. So that's it. If we come to work, we are all different people. I'm a Uganda, you're Mshiga, you're Toro, you're Nyankore, you're whatever. Everybody is raised differently. So that's the essence of the work culture, to kind of create a denominator, that cuts across all these other cultures. Like, I don't care what your culture is, but here you have to be here at 8. The work culture is here. We don't just walk into the manager's office. So I think work culture is important. It's not familiarity, like Jojo believes. If I go to a workplace and they told me, feel we are family here, I would be scared, true, but I would know that what they mean is we have values like a family does. So what culture is important?
Yeah, it is important, but also now I want to get back to the point of, do you think the diversity, the difference in culture, can either affect the performance or the deliveries, or
It definitely does this. Remember, even in school. In school, you will be in class and your teacher tries to get everybody together on one page, and it will take probably a week. So it's hard, but it's the difference that makes us. Yeah, it works somehow. Yeah.
and Jojo, what do you think about this? The diversity.
Diversity, first of all, I think in the world in general is an issue with the definition of diversity. Diversity is not the way you look or like the way you portray yourself. It's a difference in thought. You could have like six people with different complexions think the same way as the diversity, right? And that's what you analyze or like determine at the end of the day. So diversity is not just optics. It's much deeper. Because
Okay, hear the thought.
as a thought isn't even still there because of basically because people you can have people in the same cultures. Let's say me and my cousin Denzel, right? We were raised in the same family, right? Same same scaffold, right? Oh, my brother here, right? But like we could think completely different ways, right? So now if I enter an organization and they have me at math, they say that's not diverse enough. But the way we think is completely, now that's diversity. But to analyze that as well, people, that needs more time.
All right. So I think we want to get the rest of our people involved.
Yes.
We have had enough back and forth. Yes. So the place cards have table numbers. So we had spoken earlier about this. So I will just call on let me see, table three. Three. For those of you who have just joined us, thank you for coming. You're very welcome. Um, we had shared with the people that were here earlier. The idea is you'll see some questions on your table.
Like Madam Government or the students.
You're going to answer them. So we call on your table number. Then you have a chat with us. So any table that feels they have they can interject either with an addition, a subtraction, uh, anything, any sort of contribution to the question, please feel free. That is the essence of why we are here. So that if table three was has said something that you object to, you can just you can give something and you can throw it out there. All right. So you read the question, then you give us your thoughts.
I am by name Locheng Jamai Maru, and this is my good friend and sister, Brenda Cherop. She's from Kapchora. I am from Karamojong. So my question is, what are some of your favorite dishes from other cultures? For me, I fell in love with this shabu. I think it's from Western Uganda. Ever since I tasted the shabu, I don't think I have gone to an event and not asked for a shabu, especially if it's not buffet. So yes, I really do love the shabu. I fell in love with it, and if you feel like you want to try out dishes from other cultures, please, I'd recommend that. You would love it.
Just a question from me. What is your local dish called?
Karamojong has a lot of local dishes. We do have nyango dish, that is millet flour with ghee and sugar if you do dessert. But of course, the ancestors didn't have sugar, so it's ghee and millet flour.
My name is Atkunda Mwezi Tugume. I have African names, and in my culture, all of us have African names. So
we encourage us Ugandans to adopt that. Among Nyankola as well, and he spoke about a touch maker. Among the things of a touch maker, when a visitor comes to our home, like a home of a Nyankole, and there is porridge. For people of those, okay, like my mom always has porridge in the house. So when you come in the house, you're supposed to always have something before you leave. That's the polyculture. If you don't have porridge, you're supposed to at least give water or something. But the whole essence is that when a guest comes to your home, they should not leave when they've not had a meal in your home. And then there is also a shabwe. Those days, a shabwe used to be done to be made when everyone is quiet. When you're making a shabwe, you use ghee and rock salt. So when you're making it, you like so that you don't add a lot of rock salt or more salt, you have to keep quiet. So I don't know why, but I think the essence is that you need to concentrate and give it your all when you're preparing something for a guest. Thank you.
Have you seen it being made when everyone is quiet?
Yes, I have. I have every time when we have an event, it's usually the old people that make it. And they always keep quiet while they are making. I don't know why. But for us, this generation, we use blenders, you talk, and it's different. Yeah.
Thank you. So one thing about this porridge that is always in the house. Is it normal porridge like bushera or something?
It's normal. It's porridge. It's wheat flour, like it's millet flour. They make it from wheat. You mix it with some people mix it with sorghum, the bachiga. Then Banyankole mix it with I don't know the details, but it's mixed with something else that helps it ferment. So some people use it as alcohol. Yeah.
I think the fermentation bit explains it because as just like
I remembered Banyakole is amamia. It's called amamia. They use amamia, they mix it, and then they cover it overnight. When it's still warm, in the morning it's sweet. So if you want it to ferment, let me say there is an event, and especially the bachiga, and you want it to ferment and be like alcohol so that the people are happy, you leave it for more time. They call it omugusha, but I don't know the translation.
thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, Wilbur, you had something?
Yeah, what she calls amamia, I don't know the English word, but they get that millet, the millet grains. They first keep them for some time, let's say 5 days, and then they sow them to flour. So after making porridge, they mix it. They get that flour and mix it in the hot porridge. So if it is thick, it now becomes water. Yes. Yeah. So the more you keep it, the more it's like wine. Yeah. So when you keep it for long, it becomes bitter. Can actually make you drunk if you keep it like for 2 weeks.
I guess that's the idea. Thank you very much. All right.
One thing, this may be a bit inappropriate, but like, according to what I've read, I'm sure you guys have heard about FGM, which is an absurd idea, obviously, but apparently when they cut it off in some cultures, they boil it and the grandfathers drink it. So it turns into food, so just in the food. My bad.
There's some. Oh yes, there's some.
Sorry, I want to say something about what she said. My friend is from Capture, and I was asking her just before we started the conversation about FGM. So let her come back and we confirm about the boiling for the grandparents to drink.
Thank you.
We
Hi everyone. I'm Yango Malora. I came with a beautiful friend of mine. She'll introduce herself. She's called Bonita. Yeah, her first name gives me a term, so I don't embarrass myself. My question is, what culture aspects of your background do you most cherish? Well, personally, I really cherish my our music and dance. Back then in the childhood, I really like my culture. I'm a chica. A proud one. So I really like our dance. It's really, I don't know how best I can describe it. It's so energetic. Yes, thank you. And I also cherish the family gatherings. Um, what else do I cherish? It's just always different when you're around home. I just like the dance. Let me just be specific.
Show us the dance.
Unfortunately, I don't know how to dance. That dance, specific dance. Though I like dancing the Chinyarwanda dance, the one for Burmese. I am quite good at that one. DJ, some music. Oh, and by the way, this conversation was a bit, I took it too personal because we wanted to, we were opposing some points.
Please.
Just give us a chance.
No. The chance is there.
About the, it takes a village to raise a child. No. I would want to raise my child personally.
Sorry, I think the context was. I think the context was. It takes a village, not that we should adopt that it takes a village for your child. But I don't know from where you grew up. From where you grew up, definitely you have village. So where you grew up, yeah, was that you and your parents?
Yeah, where I grew up from, it did really take a, yes, it also took a village, but you would find my neighbors and the shopkeepers wanting to, put us in the right state when we're growing up, but then you find they are judgmental. They're going to discipline your child and they're judging your child. That's really not good. And in society right now, there's a point, she made a point somewhere about, what is it about? Okay, let me get to the point. About,
Before we took a break, we had Laura giving us the music also. This is very unfortunate. But anyway, um, so I'll hand the mic back to her. She had her challenges.
so personally, I would want to raise my child as I am, as I am.
Yeah, that's actually true. There's someone there who had wants something else to say. While the lady is getting the microphone, Laura, I think what you speak of is true. We have reached in a generation where you have to do your thing because there's a lot of, I guess, intoxication into the culture. You have things that you did not value growing up, or some of the values that you had instilled growing up are not, worth it anymore. Or even the whole notion, like you said, that it takes a village, does not really resonate with you, and you feel like it has to be done your way on your terms, using what you perceive to be good and what you perceive to be better. But in the context, like how you say how you grew up, so you don't want your children to be, stereotyped and all that. So you'd rather do that. But now we are talking about the society in which we grow up. But now, if you're going to have children, you can do that differently. So I think, yeah, of course, there are some of the bad things about culture, or when you have very many people, contributing to what you should do or what you shouldn't do, where you should take kids, where you shouldn't take kids. I think it's a whole broad discussion, but I think you're free, and yeah, you can do whatever you want. I mean, it's your child, and you feel you have their best interests. All right, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Sharon Atwine, and I just wanted to ask, what is the definition of a village to you? Yeah, but I think you could choose the village you want your child to grow up around, because raising your child on your own it is not good. You're going to teach this child everything you want him or her to know, to learn, to accept the things you want them to value and want. But remember, you have a family.
You come to me, I have different values. I will teach your child that, no, that is not good. Like now, this guy is saying these other things and all that stuff. Like I, for one, will not be able to control each and every aspect. So I guess at a certain point, it is you have to leave it up to the child to do.
Thank you very much. I want to also to inform my sister over there. Yes. That birthday. No, we are trying to organization. Yes. The day you will realize that it's a village that will raise a kid, wait until you have a baby girl, and it's time to give her away. You'll find they'll look for a senga in our language, which is shwekasi. They will need an uncle. Yeah. They will need different people, and actually never human. A man can be able to give a speech. That's how bad it can be. So when you have a child, it takes a village.
I think two things actually. One is, how sure are you that you don't have blind spots? Because everyone thinks they're right? Like when you're raising a kid, your way is the best way. Trust that. But everyone has blind spots. There's things about you in your world that you can't see. The second thing is, unless, long story short, in one sentence, just make sure, I know you speak from a protective point of view, make sure that protection doesn't come cage.
All right, thank you. That was step 5. And table 9.
One person from the table stands up, represents it, reads the question and answers, please. Leave someone that looks like Banner Boy. Good evening. Once again, my name is Asianzo Maria Sharon. So, one of our cards. How do you think culture influences our daily lives? Now, basing on what the discussion we have been having, culture goes back to you as a person, your individual culture, as you say, culture goes back to how do you do things at home, Now, personally,
my culture, my family's culture, influences how I speak, how I eat, how I cook. Now, for example, I may go to her home and the way, how do I put this? Let me use an example of food. You have how you cook your sauces at home, which might not be how I cook mine at home. Now, food is an everyday thing. Food is an everyday thing, yeah? So the way, let me say we may go kalo. Now for me, my culture, we may go our kalo with sorghum, we mix it. Now, the fact that that's my culture will influence how I do that. So according to me, the things you do as a person, the things you do as a society, the way you greet, the way you welcome, what you feed people when they come, is what's going to influence how you live your life on a daily. Yeah? Then let me give her.
Do you agree in this case, given what you have done, you've just said, do you agree that your general behavior as an adult now has a lot to do with how you brought up and it's now a fusion of how you brought up and what is currently accepted or familiar culture where you are?
I would be a liar if I say that my character as an adult is based on what my family has taught me. Most definitely, there are things I'm doing today that I didn't learn from home. There are things I'm doing today that I've learned from the people around me, that I've learned from the people I study with, that I've learned from where I work, that I've learned from different, So my behavior today as an adult is not credited to my family. It's credited to the people around us.
Thank you.
Just around you. Your family are the people around you.
Oh no, aside from my family, I go to school, I study, the people I study with, I work.
Okay, got your point.
All right. I think table one is very well prepared, and they want to do their second question. So, please go on.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karamojong. I'm a student at UCU. This is my brother, sister. So, my question was, do you think culture has something to do with tolerance in our society or lack thereof? So there are two words here that I looked at: culture and tolerance. Culture is something of upbringing, cultures, manners, behaviors specifically. So I think culture does have something to do with tolerance. Because if I came from a background that we can't tolerate people who drink and like and they're shouting and they're all doing that, I could not tolerate it. And I can't. So but this is to an extent. Some cultures do enable us to tolerate some behavior because we have become we are taught differently. So these cultures help us engage in differently. We tolerate.
You said there's certain things you don't tolerate, right?
Yeah.
So let's extrapolate that, right? Like, as in, if we lived, I believe in fences, I believe in inclusion and exclusion. That's right. But if we live in a society with only tolerance, we'd be like Afghanistan, right? Because one determinant, one individual, one thought process is what is above all, right? And who knows if what is above all, the way you think, is what's right. So just we have to discern with that particularly. I think that's a very dangerous way to think. And alcohol has brought about very many good things.
I hear you, and I think the question was, how has your culture, um, enabled you to be tolerant and or not? And that means that there are cultures that have tolerant people, and there are cultures that don't. That means there are cultures that have, and that goes down to even just like temperament and yeah. So let's give, for example, I'm a Toro and I'm a Chiga. I am fortunate to be both. My father is a Chiga, my mother is a Toro. So you're such a telling I could see it. So my father is a Chiga, my mother is a Toro. And clearly those are two contrasting cultures in terms of tolerance. Yeah. But Toro take things so easy. They are chill people. Even when they are quarreling, it's just really. A Michigan man is not going to have time for you. They are blunt and they are, yeah. So it's not, I do not think it's a culture thing to be tolerant or not tolerant. That goes down to your personal, I don't know. It's the Ugandan culture. As the Ugandan culture. And so like we say, culture comes about as a whole, it's a whole sum of many things, behaviors, beliefs, values, heroes and all that stuff. So I think, and I agree with the fact that, yeah, culture affects tolerance. Culture affects, because tolerance would be a behavior. So I think that culture will determine my behavior. I think so.
You brought a very good point, which is we have to talk about the evolution of culture, because culture is not stagnant. In past Africa, like in 80 years, homosexuality was a big thing. If you didn't know that, you know. So in Greece as well, and especially male to male, the sign of dominance if you are a protege or like something which happened, right? But as culture evolved, right, where you found it at your age, where we are, society, we go there right now, it's taboo and whatnot. But what culture was and what it is right now is something we need to speak about. So I appreciate your comments.
Yeah, and I think Jojo raises the point of the evolution bit. That also goes back to the discussion we're trying to have about the villages and the children and raising them. Because then it was very okay. You probably didn't have a what? And a choice. The village was there, and some communities were not even getting. So definitely, and yes, exactly. So the setting was different. So trust me, by the time you have your children at a certain time, because of that issue of evolution, there are very many things that will have changed. So yeah, thanks for that. Thank you.
I want to agree with what she's courage. Yeah, I want to agree with what courage saying earlier. And then Jojo mentioned the evolution of culture. Okay, that could apply maybe in the urban areas, but I want to assure you that if you go back, now for me, my dad is from Westland in Aringa. People in Aringa are not going to allow you. For example, if you're giving, if an elder is giving you money, you can't receive it with the left hand. But here in the urban areas, it's okay, we are losing it. But if you go back to the villages, those people still embrace culture and it's almost similar to how it was in the past in some areas. So I agree with her about you need to be tolerant when you go to other people's culture. Some people might do things in different ways, and then back at home you do things in different ways. But if you go to Karamojong's home and then they do not enter their house with shoes, yep, so you at home it's okay. Why would you want to enter her house with shoes? So you don't want to go somewhere and people are looking at you as a person who is very disrespectful. and you don't embrace other people's culture. As what is
Thank you. I think yes. I think you also bring out the idea of not seeing culture only through your lens, because we're in community, and of course, while in Rome, as they say, you try. There should be some sort of adjustment. One to be respectful, to be accommodative, and to be tolerant. But of course, we are in a society where, because we are different people, because of different reasons, we may not be as receptive, we may not be as accommodating as we should be. So that's why you find things like someone going to a certain area where they did not grow up from, and they find their culture strange, and they have the audacity to even speak openly about it. I mean, you've just come to a person's culture, and you're you're speaking openly, and because you find something strange, and you're just being disrespectful with how you're speaking about it. So thank you for that. And is there anyone else that has? Oh, Jim.
One more thing. You mentioned ethnic cultures. Let's say, like back in your village, they may not respond like in kin with, well, yeah. But the issue is, right? If you look at, let's say, like the North Sentinel tribe, which is in a forest, which has never been influenced by civilization, they might still think giving birth to twins is a curse. Information, let's say, and then from the original culture. And I guarantee you, those people that think like that are going to die sooner or later. And that inflexibility of the human mind can never be understated. And that's so you come to a old man in his village and you tell him, boss, you go with like John Theory, for example, right? That he was hung, the guy who told people the first time that there's small things which you can't see that are killing pregnant women. As in, this guy is mad, Kabisa. But now, yeah, that's right. It's about the evolution.
But surely that's going to make another time. Oh, yes, sir, please.
Okay.
I'm all right. Truth is,
Daniel, please.
Andrew.
Yes, Andrew.
Truth is, and you are playing in the real time. I just want you guys to research yourselves. The fact that you can say, okay, taking you back from some statements you people made, you said something that there is a village to anyone. They said that.
I think you can, as a building up.
I don't know. Okay, I'm going to pick from what you said before. Then it will bring more out to the food we have now.
Yeah, I think the idea was you can make your village. You get. Okay. The idea was you can make your village. So if you have a child, because the other day when they say it takes a village, it literally took a village. But now, because she was opposed to that idea of then how it literally took a village, the neighbor, the other person at the shop, and all those people contributing to your upbringing or to your growth. Her idea was right now, okay, if you do not want that, you can select who your village can be. So you make that village. It could be your sister, it could be your best friend, it could be a guy you have met here, and you have grown up in a relationship. Yes.
Truth is, I beg to disagree with that point in so many ways. Village is village. Village is an entire perspective. Because you have to sit down and ask yourself, okay, if I have boys, if you're raising boys and girls, you definitely have to raise the two types of gender differently. I obviously have to take my boys to village. And village, I do not mean to switch in the word village. Sister, that no. I mean village. For them to have the perspective, yeah, of the boys, right?
Oh, Andrew, so you're looking at village literally.
No,
Is it
literally, actually, my village.
like to take to the village?
Yeah.
You put in the can drive to the village.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think it's just understanding. We didn't mean it that way. The literal meaning of going to the village and taking the child to the village. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's like, but yes, it's a metaphor. So you choose because when people speak in your child, like which people contribute to how your child is brought up, which people contribute to the values that your child will have as they're growing up. We did not necessarily mean that you go to the village, and we did not say that do not take the children down back to the village or to see their roots or their ancestors and things like that. Yes. Yes, as they say, that's what that it came from the saying that it takes a village. They did not necessarily mean that all the village or all the group of people is what they meant by the village.
But okay, well, what I was also trying to mean is that eventually it will need your kids to have the perspective. Okay? The both sides of the coin, you get it? Yes, regardless of these other people you're raising your child with, and regardless of the other. I want you to look at the East, look at Russians. Why Russia is still solid the way it is? It's because those guys are still solid on their culture. Evolution is the idea of the West that people do change. Please. Listen. That's why to first listen to all of you guys, so that we can begin this solid, yeah? I feel like fellow clubs are trying to play more on time, yeah? Let's go. Listen, yeah?
Yeah.
The West is succeeding in a way that, yeah? I'm so much hurt when I hear girls say, I can raise my boys without a husband. I can raise my kids without a what? I want you to look at, no, okay.
Is that okay?
It's like a look.
Culture and religion is very different. Number two, when you say a woman cannot raise a boy, have the ones that have been raised in families of a man and a woman, are they all good people? Have they all come out perfect? What with the man and parents? They have kids. Today we have mothers that were raised by a married man and a woman. Are they all perfect?
As I say,
No, what are our mothers? Are they perfect? No. Also, have you ever sat down with your grandmothers and asked them if they are happy with your grandfather? In the five of them in that house, did he fulfill everything that they wanted? Of course not. It is progressive.
as I
It is not
say,
stagnant. It is made. Culture is made by us human beings.
as I say, let's not take anything personal.
As pastoral our lives, these are our children, this is our friends and our communities. Say, if your father dies and he married your mother and your mother raises you, then what now? Then what now? You will turn out to be a bad person simply because you're raised by a single parent? Excuse me.
Okay. As I said earlier, let's not take anything personal. No, okay, by the way, okay. To correct something about women, first things first. Let me take this opportunity to appreciate everyone here. These women, by the way, women, let me tell you, they appreciate women. With all due respect, let me tell you, yeah, that I need to understand something. As there is a difference biologically between men and women, then trust me, there are so many differences when you. So if you're my daughter, okay, if I have a daughter, for me to even if I'm not in my home, for me to feel okay, I need to make sure that my son is not sick enough, okay? So I have to raise my son in the materialistic way. That's why, maybe that's why I misinterpreted him when he talked about privilege, okay?
Andrew, I think also we have to appreciate that not all culture is good. Female genital mutilation is not good culture. So whether it is the oppressor, as you call it, or that brought it, that is not a good thing. It is not a good thing. We're in a society where we are advocating for equality and equity of both genders, and we shall not be shy. And we shall relax. Like the point is coming. We shall not be shy from the reality that there is that we all know not everything men can do, women can do, and the vice versa. But also, we shall not cage ourselves to the fact that men do this, and what, and all that. And we also have to appreciate that when culture is evolving, we have to look at what evolving are we talking about.
Yeah.
If it's a good evolution, I don't think we need to fight it.
Yeah.
If the oppressors come and they're taking away our kingdoms, I'm against that, because we are being washed away, we are being deteriorated, we are being erased and all those things. Yes, so I think in the context of evolution, it had a lot to do with what is good culture. And yes, Jojo had talked about how do you know what is good culture, but we also have to agree there's some that is actually really bad that shouldn't be accepted. All right.
Just to add on what we are talking about here, you made very many points, and what interested me was how your culture in your house, how you raise your children. You give your girls everything, and you make the boys work for everything. That is how you believe, and I hope that it works for you. But what I would love to say on that is that we need to appreciate open-mindedness, because like evolution is, you have to unlearn some things and you're going to relearn some other things. So if I hope that you don't get offended if you walked into my house and everybody works for what they get. I don't care you're a boy, I don't care you're a girl. Because one thing that I have learned that has spilled into our adulthood is we were given things, freedom and love. And ideally we are queens, we are all these things, but then again, we are the same women preaching equality. We are the same women wanting, of course we can never be equal to men 100%, but we are fighting to come out of the shadows and everything. So my point here is I just hope that in appreciation of your culture in your home, you are able and have the capacity, the ability to appreciate others as well, and have all of us live in one place. Yeah.
I know you have Superman syndrome, which I agree with. I also have it. I'm back in it, but I try to go like I agree like. In culture, I'll start it off with cancel culture. I have a problem with cancel culture because everyone is entitled to their opinions. You cannot have a major truth that is true. I mean, you saw Norway at some point was against Israel. I mean, was against Palestine and all, even pledging to give military support, but now it has changed. It's what? Opinion. So everyone is entitled to their opinion, and you should not be victimized because of your opinion. Things like misogyny, what are those words they like to say? Look here, sexuality is something that we're taught in schools. In our culture, it's something that ought to have been discussed by our Segas, our Ujas. So we are a generation of church school people. Our parents are colonial product. So my brother being that point of raising, I actually agree with him. I am a man with a daughter. There is this bond between a girl and the father, in that all disciplining of the child is the mother who does it, the father does the spoiling, and vice versa. We men are hard on our boys because we want them to be hard guys, not these sissies, not these guys that can't even pay bills. I mean, it's an equal hard, so let's share the bill. No, that's not how we're raised. We are raised to be providers. We are raised to take care of our beautiful women. If you have 1 or 5, it's upon you that we are raised to provide. Now, what he's talking about
It's culture. It's part of our culture that was, for some reason, demonized. I mean, what's wrong with a man having more than one woman? Especially if you can provide for that woman, especially if you can. There's nothing wrong with it. I know so many people that
Well done, sir.
all it's, and I don't know even how to say this, if this is the environment that I can see, but to each his own opinion. And I pray to the moderators, 10 years from now, if I'm the leader, you will see that because of being misogynist on the comments I'm doing now, this is truly what an African society is like. And we ought to bring this culture and teach it to our children. It starts from the home. Then it goes up to a clan. Then it goes up to a tribe, kingdoms, and that is the culture setting. Now, my brother had an issue with Uncle. We are almost 16 years since it was abolished. And we keep trying to, because we have no identity. We have nothing, we have no elders. We do not know even how to rhyme or those things. We do not know them because we are not taught these things, because our parents had this assumption. I believe you've all heard this story that the kings used to spit into people's mouths. They used to, when rising up, they used to, with a spear into someone's head. But like I said, culture evolves. So if we have Ankole Kingdom right now, but it is within the 21st century, in that there's some cultural practices like, what are those things? Those funny cultural practices, we do how we keep the identity of being Banyankole. Now, if that is not there, then what is the essence? Because you're first a Munyankole before you're Ugandan. Before you were a universal citizen, you're first a Munyankole. But why would you kill this culture? For the colonial one, which are metal, Uganda is a colonial construct. And it does not help my culture in any way. So these are some place to ponder about.
Culture is a manifestation of our biological proclivities. So when you say like, okay, let's say like men, right? Men are more physical, more testosterone, right? As in, we're hunters, gatherers. Women tend to the kids and whatnot. That has translated into culture. It's the year 2020. And that's still that, right? But we don't hunt anymore. We don't have good. Those are the brains. The same brains which women have. So my issue, I agree with you on the most part, but like I don't want you guys to be one of those niggas who has an issue with you making more money than you. You have to have the space in your head, in your heart, to understand that she can do it too. And not feel any type of way about it, right? Because she's a human being before she's a bear. So I'm not even trying to, I'm like, I get it. I get where you're coming from, right? But like, yeah, is that?
Going to conclude so that we can get back into some table questions, yeah? You see, this was one question that has gotten us here. And we want to exhaust everything else. So maybe
simply because women could come or satisfy themselves, and these men sat down and said, no, we cannot have women coming and feeling pleasure. It will take away from us being men. So they started circumcising us. If we can progress from things like that, why can't you progress from things like marrying 10 women? If I sit down and say, I cannot be party to someone having 5 people, that should be okay. Because we don't have anywhere where we can prove that the 5 that you have are satisfied, both financially, sexually, emotionally, and physically or spiritually. You get it?
Yes.
So we shouldn't be as if, oh, we cannot change this. Why not? The people in society and in this community who are not okay with that, it should be okay, right? You want to marry a 5, marry a 5. I don't agree with that. I will not. And if I'm raising my children, I'm going to raise them like that. Your happiness comes first.
Okay.
So she's not going to go, around being number 5 or raise my boys. You can marry 10. No.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Guys, we have sorry, sir, I'm going to cut you short. Really, really sorry. We have an experience curated for you. We have a piano guy and a sax guy. We need to tone down the mood. Guys are going on. Guys are going on. Okay. 1 second. Okay, 1 second. Let's turn this. Yeah. Hey, let's do this. Yeah. Each table, before we take the spur, 1 minute. Make your deliberation. Don't ask a question. Answer and leave. Yeah. So I'm going to start with the gentleman that has the microphone.
Where do you want your sisters to work? I think that is very selfish.
I think her point was unlearning, like what she was saying. Why don't some cultures change?
Unlearning that.
Yes.
Very dangerous. Very dangerous.
Guys,
That's why you find. Let me finish.
yes, please.
That's why you find they are in a marriage.
Yeah.
And I will cheat. Yeah? Why don't I be open?
You go and cheat.
I give my 5 women. Yeah? And I provide for them. Instead of me being a hypocrite, I'm with you, I tell you.
Yes, a good marriage, but a political culture. Friends, let us keep on the culture thing.
That's the culture. Now, our culture we used to marry more than. Actually, it was even prestigious. Having many children and having many women and many children was a sign of prestige. We had land. All those kids would go in the land and finish it in one day. Yeah, so it was, why should I unlearn a good thing?
No, that's what you're saying. Good and bad is relative to you.
Blessing Amanya is my name. And in relation to that, I want to started from the ATS, African Traditional Society, where you find it's okay for a man to have as many wives. And it was okay, or it is okay, according to that religion. And even maybe to my sister, I would imagine telling a Muslim man that it's a must have 1 wife. It would be, they would not understand you according to their religion. Now, for me, with an Anglican, I strongly believe 1 man, 1 wife. So like they're saying, it's really relatively to where you are, everything is okay. It's just that maybe as Uganda face we all, that maybe some people are Muslims, some people are Catholic, some people, so we all need to agree to where we belong and stick to that and agree, because I have no problem with a Muslim having 10 wives, and I have no problem with a Christian having 1 wife. Yeah.
Amen. Yeah, this guy hasn't said anything. Hey, what 1 moment?
I don't know what I want to say, but I think I want to talk to her. Yes. Essentially around five women, right? And I think it's a thing about debating between the difference between culture. I don't think it's culture. I think it's acceptance. It's there are very few high quality men, and there are very, very many high quality women. And this is a compliment to women. Unfortunately, the men we're lacking generally. So to find 1 quality man, he has to take on. It's out of duty rather than. It's definitely out of duty to make sure.
Guys. Hey, when we're conversating, someone is talking and another one is listening, no? 1 minute at first we finish. Please. Yes.
Yes, so all of these things which then are molded around culture, and we say that 1 man, no, not in the past, it wasn't that every man was accepted to have 5 women. Some were not even allowed to have women because they are very useless. But those who are high value men who had that capacity, as he has said, yes, there were things that were missing, but it was a fair compromise to be able to raise your children, to be able to give them a chance at a good future. it might not be guaranteed, but the chances are higher. There's a lot of things which are not guaranteed in life. But when you look at things, and that's why even in the women sometimes prefer taller men. It's not that it's not out of your natural incline to taller men, is based out of the fact that it was a form of acceptance where you say, yes, I will be with one man and I'll share with another 4 women, but we all have a higher chance of being fed. We're not going to starve. We have more security. It's duty. And yes, I agree. And now the world is changing, but there is also still need, because one still, unfortunately, the high value men, I do not know. We were used to fighting, so when it came to things of mental capacity, yeah.
Locally, there are so many high value men around. So I know someone is really targeting the target group Kampala and Uganda for a man, but I believe that locally someone will be able to attract a higher value man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have an experience curated for you. We have a piano guy and a sax guy.